With her singing career now firmly established, Emma Kirkby's pure voice attracted people who wanted to discover new aspects of old favourites. In the 70s you also caught the attention of Christopher Hogwood, who was doing great things in early music. What did you do with him that, as it were, took your career on?
Messiah was the big break, really. And then I was lucky because Christopher chose a version from, I think it was 1752 or 3, which Handel did specially for the Foundling Hospital.
What we chose to do for our recording was one of the best documented, but the last version that Handel left to the Foundling Hospital in London. It involved having 2 sopranos who divvied up the work between them. And also, surprisingly, there were some transpositions of well-known numbers, in particular the Refiner's Fire, which in the Foundling Hospital only is pitched a tone higher than it is in any other Handel version. So, of course, it gets into very squeaky territory. It was for that and a few other arias given to that singer that Emma took that part.
I was given But Who May Abide, Thou Art Gone Up, and If God Be For Us, which are not so well known, which was lovely for me because I didn't have to worry about matching up to anybody else's version. You know, it's very, very helpful, I think, if you can be on relatively virgin territory for something.
Emma Kirkby has very distinctive looks, which are very natural and by some convenient fluke happen to make her look rather like a Piero della Francesca angel, which is very useful if you're going to sing music from that period, I think. In fact, there's a picture of the Nativity by Piero della Francesca, which has 4 or 5 Emma Kirkbys all playing their lutes. It's really very, very clever of her to acquire this look.
During the 70s and 80s, Emma Kirkby recorded and collaborated with an ever-growing number of ensembles that specialised in Renaissance and Baroque repertoire. She became the popular face of early music.
Most people thought music began with Bach and Handel, and the idea of something earlier was rather like going back to the plough and really not to be bothered with. But in the early 80s, she became a sort of figurehead for that music. And you knew that if Emma Kirkby was singing the music of someone you'd never heard of, you could have a pretty good guess what kind of music it might be, because she made it her own. Il est vrai qu'elle n'attendait pas, qu'il faudrait n'avoir point Dieu pour ne l'aimer pas. Il est vrai qu'elle n'attendait pas, qu'il faudrait n'avoir point Dieu pour ne l'aimer pas. Aussi je dois bénir les dieux qui m'ont défendu les traits de ses yeux. Pour moi je veux bénir les dieux qui m'ont défendu les traits de ses yeux. Sa beauté peut tout enflammer, même un dieu en
vie peut tout enflammer, même Dieu en la voyant la voudrait aimer. Pour moi je veux bénir les dieux qui m'ont défendu des traits de ses yeux. Pour moi je veux bénir les dieux qui m'ont défendu des traits de ses yeux.
What you were doing had not been done on any with that intensity before. It was new, it was coming up. There was quite a lot of opposition to it, and people weren't always entirely complimentary.
No, well, it still is, I think. Yes, I mean, voices, it's a very subjective business. People really get very passionate about what they feel about voices. And yes, some people said it was ridiculous, it was starved, it was dull.
Alfred Teller, the countertenor, described it as vegetarian. I mean,
Yes, most music for vegetarians, they said. Yes, that's right. The bad reviews are the ones that really stick in the mind, aren't they? The ones you remember. And somebody said, listening to Emma Kirkby sing is about as interesting as an entire meal of plain yoghurt. So that went into the sort of, into our world after that. A bit more yoghurt here, please.
I mean, it doesn't matter now, but did that hurt at the time?
I mean, every bad review's got a grain of truth in it, so it's worth looking for that. There will be something. I mean, you don't start fully, you don't spring fully armed from the thigh of Zeus, do you? You take a while getting yourself sorted. And I was acutely aware of things that weren't right yet. I was hugely enjoying myself, but it wasn't what I really felt that I was capable of yet. It takes a long time.
Even today, the quality of Emma Kirkby's voice provokes debate. Although in a poll this year she was voted one of the top 20 greatest sopranos of all time, some questioned whether she should have been included at all.
Most great singers have excelled or become known in later repertoire because that tends to be operatic. The great thing about opera is that it demands acrobatics, and nothing people love more than to see high wire activity. Most of these singers who do specialise in the later repertoire could not sing what she sings because it requires a denial of ego in the way the voice is produced.
Do you think the idea of having to throw your voice over a 90-piece orchestra to the back of a 3,000-seater hall, well, it did. How did it change the voice?
The really big voices, they can be used quite simply. But I think the ones that are a little bit smaller, if they want to get past the competition, they have to find a way of amplifying that. And they add vibrato. That's the first thing they usually do.
Add vibrato, yeah.
Yes, and